Hello, everybody, and welcome to the fourth week of our Film Seizure trip through the also rans in the Academy Award races for Best Picture. We went from 1967 to 1975 to 1985, and now we're in 1995 with, I think, the one movie that may have been the biggest surprise of the entire decade for how well it performed and what people thought of it. And that is Babe.
Babe.
Hey, babe.
Hey, babe.
So, Chuck Moore, how's it going, Chuck?
It's going really good.
Did you practice your jig? Because we've got a song to perform.
Yeah.
You've got a song to perform.
Thankfully, no one's going to see me perform it, but yeah,
Okay.
I practiced.
All right. Jason, how are you ready for Chuck's jig?
I will. I am ready, and I'll probably have the urge to drink from a nipple after he does. So yeah.
I'll lay you over my lap.
Oh boy, I'm turning on. I'm gonna. Yeah, I don't want to see any of that, but that's okay. Cool.
You need
cool,
to hydrate as much as I do, Jason.
Yes, exactly. Hydration is the key to winning the Sheepdog Championship. Yep.
It sure is. All right, so this comes to us from director Chris Noonan, who has an awesome Wikipedia picture where it looks
It does.
he looks partially surprised, partially angry at somebody while wearing might be like a Colonel Sanders outfit. That's pretty awesome.
I'm going to say something controversial.
Okay.
He's the Toby Hooper of Babe. Or Toby Hooper of Poltergeist to Babe.
Okay.
He is a surrogate director. And people will take offense to that. They think Toby Hooper was totally the director of Poltergeist, but ain't no way Poltergeist looks like Poltergeist if Steven Spielberg isn't pulling the puppet strings behind the scenes.
Would you make the same argument like Frighteners with Zemeckis and?
No, I've never made that argument.
Okay, I mean it looks like a Zemeckis film, even though it's made by
all of
Peter Jackson.
all the sensibility though is Peter Jackson. Yeah.
Okay, so fair.
Yeah.
You guys are going where I'd assume you would.
Yeah.
These are not George Miller's sensibilities.
They are though.
Well, they are because George Miller directed the sequel.
Yeah.
Directly.
Yeah, I mean, but that's post. That's saying your sensibilities came after your sensibilities.
This was his idea. This was his babe. This was his babe. And he just didn't have the time. He had to outsource the directing.
Because Chris Noonan is not here. Yeah, Chris Noonan is not a career director.
No, he's 5 movies.
Yeah.
Over 30 years or something.
And it's the same way with Poltergeist. Let's be real. It was an outsourced job because Spielberg didn't have time.
Yeah, he was working on E.T.
Right. And it's not to knock Toby Hooper. I don't ever say that to talk shit about Toby Hooper. I think Toby Hooper rules. And I think Toby Hooper did bring some scary shit to Poltergeist. I don't think it would necessarily have the edge that movie does without him. But that movie does not look like it does without Spielberg. It's anybody who says differently is delusional. And I'm just going to say that out loud right now, disagree or not. But this movie, man, this movie took a lot of coordination production-wise because you've got the Jim Henson company behind it. You've got some really elaborate CG effects behind it. This has George Miller written all over it because of the inventiveness and the innovation. I guess that's the word I should have said. The innovation behind it, right?
Yeah, if you look at the skies in this movie and then look at Furiosa.
Yeah.
They look the same.
Yeah.
The roots to the way Furiosa looks this year was born almost 30 years ago.
Yep, 100%. And
And this movie, like the palette of this movie, I fucking love the palette. I love everything about this movie, by the way.
No.
I have very few negative things about the movie. The movie is almost like unassailable critically in a lot of ways, because it's just so pleasant.
Well, we will come back around to that because I read some.
I would love to hear that.
Okay, yeah, because let's just say it was a fun day going to the user comment section of Rotten Tomatoes for this movie because I was like, how the fuck are you getting this? Oh yeah, that's the funny thing is that it's the regular people who don't know what they're really talking about, and it's hilarious.
I have like two or three things.
I have like
Not
two
even.
notes
I
that,
have
that
I know I only have two notes, but I only have like one thing in my mind that kind of annoys me about this movie. And it's like minor.
is it the mice?
Yes.
Okay, well I also I can explain
Mice.
I can explain the mice. So
They really detract from
They're
the
really
movie for me.
annoying.
well,
Yeah.
but there's a reason why they're there, why they are where they are actually. And I know this because I've actually read the book that this is based on.
No, you have not.
I have.
You
I'm
read a
joking,
book?
but
Yeah, yeah. Well, but each one was it was a young adult book. So anyway, so each chapter is the novel that's this movie is based on is actually very very similar,
Yeah.
and each chapter is introduced by drawing like one of the few drawings in all the books are the mice introducing each chapter. So that's why they are in at the beginning and end of those chapters.
that doesn't mean you can't make a decision to leave them out and just do the picture and the title.
Yeah.
Well, sure,
Yeah,
but
the
at
like
the
the
same
chipmunk voice is a
Yeah,
little
Yeah,
but I
after
mean
the first like one or two times it's like yeah, we can leave that out.
but at the same time it's like I
I'm
mean
sure kids
there's
like love it though. Like,
there's
I'm
an
sure kids love it.
obvious I mean obviously they wanted to adapt it pretty faithfully, so it's like I mean that would be like
It's it's honestly a minor criticism. It really is. It's
Yeah.
like I get all of it. I understand it. I'm sure kids like laughed every time the mice talked. It's fine.
yeah
It's truly fine. Like it really is. But it's just kind of like
But you have
this is getting borderline weird.
you have two people here that both like had that same problem. So there is something.
No, certainly. You're certainly right. But I'm trying to respect the audience,
Sure.
I think, when I say that, right?
Yeah, and I think that's I think one thing also when you talk about like the audience and you talk about like this movie was rated G, which at the time for about 25 years before this movie, a G rating was almost certain death with critics.
This is like our age group G rating though. This is like watching, I don't know if it's Snow White or Beauty and the Beast, but like whatever movie it was back in it was Beauty and the Beast, obviously. But like with the skeleton reaching for the water jug, and you're like, oh, that guy fucking died trying to get to water. That's this movie's kind of G rating.
Yep. I agree.
It's all there.
There was a moment in this movie where I was like, oh shit, this is like I don't know if you know this movie, Oh Hazard Balthazar. It's about the donkey who
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of the movie.
The life of a donkey, and it doesn't end well, and that was recently remade as EO,
Yeah.
and it doesn't end well, and it's like this really pleasantly nice like journey and beautiful film that has like a really sad ending. It has the Bambi ending, let's just say that. But there were moments in this where it was like, oh shit, like they went there. Like this is But
I mean,
like I feel like this is like the type of movie that should be still made for kids. Like why are we coddling kids?
Right, sure, but I mean, but like I
agree
think
with
that I think the thing is that the problem with the reason why G rating, the two extremes G and X had issues, and certainly by the 90s now we're talking about G and NC-17
Yeah.
because when X was co-opted by the triple X rating, it was always thought of, oh, it's rated X. There's got to be something really lurid, and it's like probably not actually. It was probably just way too serious for teenagers to take seriously or whatever, right? But the G rating always had an issue because, again, this kind of goes back. I kind of have this insight because of watching those old Siskel and Eberts. Anytime they reviewed something that was G or just borderline PG, just above G, if it was too kiddie, it was almost instantly going to be derided for being not smart enough for kids, even.
Right.
So G ratings were usually the first sign where it's like, oh no, it's probably not going to be
We're talking
all that
down.
intelligent. Yeah,
We're
exactly.
talking down. Yeah.
Which is dumb because, and why I think I say it's like our youth. Like this movie came out way after our youth, right? But it does have those undertones and those things that adults can grab onto without being overt. That doesn't make it dumb. It makes it smart. Actually, it delivers like a message to us.
Yep.
And to the kids. Like those kids don't know that overhanging hook like shot that's fucking terrifying when Babe runs into the thing. But as an adult, you're like, oh fuck, that's menacing.
Yeah.
And Babe is the kid in that scene because he doesn't even know.
Right.
Yeah.
Like what that means. Sorry, rambling.
Yeah. No, but you're right. He doesn't know what that means. And because you see it through Babe's eyes, you don't register it. But those who know. Right.
Right.
And that's kind of like a genius storytelling device here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And now one of the things that kind of changed, and the reason why most animated features later came out as usually PG, was Disney changed a lot of that with like Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, and those since then, which was, we need to make sure that when kids want to see this movie, that there's something very obviously there for parents. We don't have to go all the way to PG-13, but half the lines in Aladdin that are spoken by Robin Williams are for the parents,
but that
not
was
for
G,
the kids.
Wasn't it? That was G.
Was it G?
I don't remember. So. All I know is that 80s, 70s Disney is the best Disney, at least for me. Like anything.
Which is funny because 60s and 70s Disney nearly bankrupted it because it was widely considered bad. Like, especially their live action, but like their cart, like the Rescuers were like
live action.
Yeah,
but,
Aladdin was rated G.
Okay,
confirmed.
Well, but still, I mean, like but there was a.
I remember
Robin Williams for a reason.
But I remember when it was starting to move away from the G rating with stuff like Titan AE. That was like PG, right? It was like those sort of like they bridged the line between adult entertainment and children entertainment. There was maybe going to be a damn or a shit in it, right?
And it wasn't thematic though. It was language, and
it was usually language and a little bit of violence. Yeah,
the thematic stuff was better. Like that was adult and unseen.
Yep.
Sorry. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean,
but I agree. I agree. When you have to tell a story that adults and children will enjoy, and you have to do it through a theme, you have to write. You have to be a good writer.
Yeah, and
that's
this
why
movie
Pixar has been so popular, right?
Yeah,
Is they've
exactly.
The only bad writers of Pixar are the guys who make the titles for the movies.
Right.
Toy Story, Cars.
Right. Like Jesus, but maybe there's a formula there that we don't.
There
understand.
is obviously
Elemental. Yeah.
Well, you know what though? I mean, Inside Out. That's actually a clever title.
Inside Out.
That's
pretty good. That's pretty good.
I like that.
That's a good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, and apparently the sequel's really good too.
My kid liked it.
Yep.
Brinley liked it. She saw it with her girlfriend. She liked it.
Nice.
So anyway, but like the point is that I think it's really important to kind of understand that I think the reason why this ended up being so surprising was that it had that writing, right? It had the yes, this is through and through kids entertainment, completely and totally inoffensive in almost every way, and yet here's a trio of guys in their mid to upper 40s watching it for an episode of a podcast.
It's
Right.
super
And it still
nice,
hits.
man. It is just super nice. Like, this is a movie that my wife loves. She loves
She loves pigs. Yeah.
she loves pigs.
She married
And she
Jason.
loves these. Yes, yeah. Oh, ouch.
Got
Sorry.
him.
I love you, brother. I love you.
I gotta recover from that. She really likes this movie, and even she was kind of like she hadn't seen it in a while, and even she was kind of like cringing at some of the like more childish moments in it. But at the end of the day, like, yes, it was a very, very delightful watch.
Well,
It
like
is a very
what was
nice movie.
what were a few of the things that she was still like?
It was mostly the mice.
Yeah.
It was mostly the mice. Yeah, it was just like, oh, do we need to keep doing this?
The funny
of
thing
these
is,
mice.
the funny thing is I'm also not going to lie. When I saw the mice, I was like, I bet Jason has something to say about that.
I don't really.
But I know, but I mean,
other
like,
than they're just a little bit like much. Like you can do vignettes in another way. It was the chipmunk voice, I think, that really bugged me. They could have
Probably.
done them. I think if
For
they
me
had done
too, I
them,
mean.
I think if they had done them in like a more like a soprano voice or something, it would have.
Dude, I would have liked like an Orwellian mouse out there. Like,
Yeah, like someone like a wise mouse
yes.
who was like presenting this as
no.
I like
that's
that.
Secret
I like
of
that.
Nim. We'll watch that one
Well,
later.
we have
Yeah,
seen
yeah,
it in him.
that's
Fucking
true.
wonderful story and movie. But honestly, as we're talking about it, the movie, the Kubrick movie, Barry Lyndon, like that voice,
Yeah, oh my
that
god, the
sardonic,
mouse
like
with the
yes.
animatronic Jim Henson mouse. Oh, I would have been like, kiss me on the mouth. Yeah,
Yes.
love it.
And kids
Love
probably
it.
still would have liked it too because it was
Yeah.
humorous enough. But
Yeah.
we shouldn't spend too much time on that
No,
because
we
again, it's a small critique.
But that's it. Like I'm just trying to explain that Susan hadn't seen this a long time and she loved it. We both loved it. Like, it is a nice movie.
It's sweet and it delivers some messages. It's like
Yes.
Animal Farm light.
Yes.
Yes. Excellent point. Because
Most definitely.
what's the big thing that everything starts with, right? Is that things are the way they are on this farm. Every animal has a role, and if you don't have a role, you get eaten. Basically,
Your food. That's
food,
your role.
which
Yeah.
is your role, right? And
So find another role. And Ferdinand,
Ferdinand sure
understands
does.
that right from the start.
Fucking
yeah.
Ferdinand. I want to punch him and I love him.
I love Ferdinand.
All at the same
I
time.
want Ferdinand to live in my bathtub. I love him so much.
Can I just say we'll eventually talk about it, but that scene with Ferdinand and Babe going into the house to get the electronic rooster
So good.
fucking
So
kills.
good. It does. It does. The way it's cut, the way like the
The interaction,
anxiety
yes.
on Ferdinand's like beak, I guess.
Well, and when that scene starts and he's looking in from the outside and his head's just like
Yeah,
He's like,
yeah.
no, stop.
Oh my god!
All
But
right,
he,
so-
he braves his allergy. He braves his allergy.
yes. So anyway, so the movie starts. We
Yeah,
see
set the stage.
We see the origin of Babe, which is he's in a covered joyless pig farm, basically. And these are pigs that are specifically bred, raised, and trucked off to become meat.
It's Guardians of the Galaxy from 40 years later almost.
Exactly.
Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
This is why I like Volume 3 so much, is like I saw a lot of Babe in that Rocket Raccoon story, man.
For sure. I agree with that.
I mean, you got talking animals all over the fucking place. I love it. Anyway, so you've got so the understanding is that you grow up and you get to go someplace that is so wonderful that no pig ever comes back. They don't want to come back from it. That's the belief, that's the faith of this place, if
So
you will.
sad.
Yeah. And Babe, of course, Babe's a little runt, but he has more ideas about what could be, and he misses, like the first time you ever hear him talk, he's crying at the fact that his mom is gone.
It's a
is
little
leaving.
bit. It's a little bit the farm version of The Giver. If you
That
know
too.
that story, yeah.
For sure. But yeah, he's the only one too. He's the only pig from the litter that is lamenting his mom leaving.
Contemplating.
Like all of the
things.
other
Yeah.
ones are still drinking off the mechanical tits or
Yeah.
Yep.
whatever you want to call them.
Babe is a little special. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's special in a good way.
And because he has so much empathy and so much emotion, he was easy to catch, which then sets up the next stage of his life, which is to be basically given away at a fair. By the way, I also love the farmer's wife. She is so fucking
I love her.
unhinged. It's so great.
I think
She annoys me a little in this,
I think
but
she
yeah.
puts in the best performance. Personally,
Oh, she puts her whole ass into this movie.
She does not put in the best performance. You're out of your mind.
Magda Zubanski. Oh, I think she's
James
wonderful.
Cromwell is the best.
James Cromwell.
I don't know. He's
By
an
the
old
way,
English warrior.
James Cromwell was born to do this role in his sleep.
Yeah.
This did not take a lot of effort from
The
James
director
Cromwell.
was like, "That'll do, James." At the end of this movie,
That'll do, Jim.
Yes. Will that do, George? But Magda is awesome, man. She's all the comedy. She's funny. Her timing is great.
but
Everything.
there's-
Her mumbling behind the scenes is funny. I love
And
her.
also remember that the only reason why Babe does not end up as the Christmas ham
yeah,
is because of what we find out at the beginning when we first meet her is she's the prize winner of the
Yeah.
family. Yes, Farmer Hoggett has the prize winning sheepdog Fly, but she wins everything else.
yeah.
with her duck l'orange.
Oh, everything.
Laurent.
Yeah. So she,
Cracks me up.
she's got a
When she's talking about who they're gonna kill, it fucking kills me. Is it gonna be duck l'orange or is it gonna be the roasted pig?
roasted
Oh
pig.
my
Yeah.
God.
He's like, pork is sweet. Sorry.
Yep, it's a sweet
It's
pork
so
is a very
funny.
sweet meat.
It's
The
so funny.
fucking mice taught me that. Shut
Yeah.
up about the goddamn mice.
That was very John Oliver of you. That was
Yeah.
great. Perfect John Oliver delivery. I loved it.
I didn't move my. Anyway, so I needed. So all right. So Farmer Hoggett gets called over to the pig stand where they've got a little pig
Yeah.
in a box, and he's like, "Hey, Farmer Hoggett, hey, you might end up with a prize-winning pig here, or you might end up with a good meal."
Yep.
It's like, guess the weight of the pig, and he picks up the pig, and of course, the narrator tells us that they regarded one another for a moment as if they
Yes,
had a
yes.
greater destiny together.
Yes.
And he starts to weigh it, and he's about to put in the final 0.5 ounces or whatever
Yep.
until Babe pees a little bit, and he's like,
Yep.
"Oh, yeah."
He knocks off 3 or 4 ounces. Yeah.
Yeah. And
It was a 3-ounce pea.
Yeah.
it was a 3-ounce pea, and he
3
knew
ounce
it
pea.
exactly because he puts it down. They say, "We'll call you if you win," and he just kind of laughs it off. It's like, whatever.
yeah.
They go
He
home.
pays them their money for the ticket and whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. He's, hey, I'll play along, and you'll get your donation or whatever that you're supposed to get for it.
And
Right.
his wife is already excited about it. She thinks that they're going to win it because she's
Yes, because they're
dreaming
already
about
at home.
pork chops and
Bacon and
and liver, pork livers and all sorts of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he gets a call, and he just picks up the phone, and they're shouting at him that he's won, and he just says, "Oh,
That's great.
yeah." Oh. So he brings the pig home, and he just names him Pig, and he's this is where Babe learns the lay of the land, if you will.
Yeah.
That everybody has their role, and the two most important animals on the farm are Fly and Rex.
Rex.
Yeah, Hugo Weaving in an
And
Yeah,
Ferdinand.
right?
Yeah, Samara Weaving's uncle doing some voice work.
Yeah,
Yep.
Samara Weaving's uncle. Yeah, known for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
known for being
I mean, that's all I've ever known him to do is be her uncle, and then he shows up in this movie. Fucking wild.
It was kind
I
of funny
mean-
because I was like that voice sounds really familiar, and I thought it was someone else. I thought it was someone who it couldn't be actually because I thought it sounded like I can't remember his name, but anyway, Susan and I were both like I can't be that person. And then we looked at it and was like Hugo Weaving. Oh my gosh, probably
did he not-
easily like after James Cromwell the most recognizable name in this cast, right?
Oh, easily. Yeah. I mean, I guess to a certain extent, like in the voice work arena, Christine Cavanaugh is a pretty big deal.
Sure.
She's
But how
that.
did he not
I can't
call-
tell you how many times I've been to a convention that Christine Cavanaugh is there.
That's fair. That is fair. Yeah.
How did he not call Babe Mr. Anderson, though?
Mr. Baconson.
You're gonna be breaking, Mr.
Yeah, soon. He'll be baking soon.
Although Miriam Margolis, who's Fly, she's done some
She was in Harry
good work.
Potter, right?
Yeah, she's good. She's done some good acting work.
She has.
Uh,
Was she in Harry Potter? Hold on. Might have that wrong.
Anyway.
I don't. Oh, she was nurse in Romeo and Juliet.
Oh no, she was.
That's what I know
she's,
her from the most.
She's Professor Sprout in Harry Potter.
She is okay.
Yeah,
There
yeah.
we go. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, but anyway, so she. But yeah, like this is where you find out it's like okay, well the horses pull the wagon that Farmer Hoggett still has. The dogs herd the sheep. The sheep are idiots, so don't worry about them. They're less than. Oh my god, when the sheep think the dogs are idiots too, I love it.
It's
Anyway,
so good. It's so good.
the cat is there to show affection and also be a little bitch.
Yeah. Yeah. I love when she talks about the boss.
Yes.
So good.
Yeah, because she's got it reversed,
Yep.
from the dog.
she's got it right, really.
She does have it
Yeah.
right for sure.
Yeah. And then you've got the cows give milk. That's all they're, and the horse seems to almost kind of be like Rex's like number two. Like he seems to be the kind of like he's the lieutenant governor of the business here.
Like he backs up the language.
Yeah.
He's like, yes, believe that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then you do have a warring pair. You have a rooster and you have a duck. Every morning the duck crows at the and gets there before the rooster can get to the roof.
Yeah.
He's the pre-pig sheepdog, right?
Yes.
He's the animal that is going against type. And
But
kind of
it's
showing Babe that there is possibility to break.
yes.
And
Because he's also-
there is simultaneously a tolerance for and also an annoyance for, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
And he is also he's also evolving, right? He's the one
to
who
do something about that duck.
yeah. But he's also kind of evolving in the sense that he needs to find a role because he knows what happens if you don't have a job.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's capitalism. It's a fucking Animal Farm in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
It's like I have to find my place in this system that doesn't end in me being killed. Right?
I wish.
Like it's awesome. Like it is awesome, but it's funny in this context. Yeah.
Yes. I wish that the family, like I know you need that scene where they go in to get the alarm, but that alarm is not needed in this movie, and I wish the family didn't really get involved in the outside politicking.
Are you talking
Right,
about the
like-
family, like the
The mom,
farmers family?
the
yes,
Hoggets.
the Hoggets buy an alarm
Oh
when
yeah.
it's not needed because they have a dependable duck.
But she makes the joke about
Right. The very first time you see it, she's like, "We've got to do something about that duck."
But
Yeah,
she,
she
and
does-
then
they
she makes a
don't.
joke about
They don't.
the alarm going off at a sensible
Yes.
Yeah.
tone.
It's like, oh,
Yes.
I
Like
thought that would
her
be.
thing is not when she wakes up; it's how she wakes up.
Yeah.
It's good enough, I guess. Yeah.
Like she
I mean-
wants to, she's like, oh, it's a sensible tone. I like this bell. This is wonderful. It's very even and like the tone is wonderful.
It's not going to stop the duck from screaming.
No, but that's the thing. Like,
But she
doesn't
wakes up
care-
before.
She doesn't care about the time. She cares about the tone.
No, that's what I'm
The
saying.
jolt.
She's still going to hear.
right. So the duck has
duck,
got to get up
regardless.
earlier.
Yeah.
But the duck is like, well, the duck is smart. Ferdinand
Yeah.
is smart. Ferdinand is like, I can't wake them up too early. I got to wake them up when they want to be woken up. And it can't be this alarm
We got to
clock.
go get that
Can't be this
mechanical
alarm
rooster.
clock. It's
Yeah.
got to be me. The mechanical rooster has got to go. Because if the mechanical rooster is waking them up, then I am obsolete. And it's so funny.
Which is funny because also the rooster himself could be obsolete too at this point.
Absolutely.
So you could have a
Absolutely.
situation where the rooster's like, "Oh fuck,
They
I'm
should
not, I'm
team
not,
up.
I'm
They
not."
should team up.
because the rooster is going to keep the hens laying eggs.
That's true. That's true.
Well, no,
he's
wait,
not
but
gonna-
but don't
That's true.
hens lay eggs regardless if there's a rooster or if there's a rooster or not?
But
you
they
need
have
a
to-
rooster.
But don't
You
they
need
have
a
to
rooster, I'm pretty sure.
I think they have to be fertilized.
No, they're not fertilized.
I never understood this actually. They're
not
chicken
fertilized, but I
rooster
think
biology.
the rooster needs to be around to like spur shit. But yeah, you don't
like
want them
it- it's
inside.
like the rooster gets them to lay the eggs just by
Yes,
his
kind of.
pheromones and things.
Kind of.
Is that how that works?
There's some
I've
kind
never
of,
But I
like,
know,
understood
but
this.
but I know I used to work with somebody who I'm pretty sure she didn't have a rooster, but she had chickens.
You can
who,
still get eggs. You can still get eggs. I think that there's
just-
something there because most people that have chickens have like a single rooster around for whatever reason. I don't know. I'm not an expert.
apparently to
so
wake
we should
up.
move by
I don't
it.
know about
Okay.
this.
All right. Well, we'll table that. That's fine.
I don't
the
think it's
important
I
thing-
don't think it's important to this episode.
Yeah,
We'll
the
farm
important
to
thing
table
is
it.
is that Ferdinand understands all too well what happens because the other thing, and I thought this was something in the movie, but and maybe it's just something. Maybe it's like maybe I'm having a Mandela effect with this movie. I thought Ferdinand was also starving himself to make sure that he doesn't look meaty enough to be killed as well.
I don't remember that.
Maybe that's from the book. Maybe because he
Maybe.
does
It
look
could
a
be.
little skinny.
It could be.
But
He's
yeah,
always
he's
funny, like running around trying to do things without like any arms.
Yeah.
Like, his wings are pretty much useless. You know?
this is why ducks are awesome.
I love them. I love
Yeah.
them. That's why I would Ferdinand, come to my tub, hang out, dude. You're good. I got you. Like you don't have to be eaten. Although duck is delicious. Oh,
Well, I'll eat another duck.
don't
A duck
tell
that Ferdinand doesn't even
I
know.
think that way.
Well, yeah, whatever. Pork chops taste good.
Yeah.
Bacon's
Tastes good.
But Babe can live with me. That's fine. Anyway,
Pork chops might taste like pumpkin pie, but I don't give a shit. I ain't gonna eat the dirty motherfucker.
he would be safe with Jules. Anyway. So,
Imagine Jules and Babe. Just
Oh my
walking the
God.
earth. Just walking the earth like Cain from Kung Fu.
You've been listening to Film Seizure.
Yeah, there we go.
Yep.
Think about that.
That's what we're good for, right there.
So the one thing that ends up so you do kind of get a sense also of passing time as well, right? Because Fly and Rex have had puppies, and now the puppies have just gotten old enough to now they can be adopted out, which
It's like 4 to 6 weeks or something.
yeah, something like that. So and Fly is depressed, so So Babe decides to take it upon himself. Hey, can I call you mom? Can you show, he's without a parent and the mom is without children.
Right.
It's a perfect situation for these two, which Rex, he is not, this is not good for the Matrix here.
He's into the order.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not good for the Matrix. Good call.
Exactly. Because if you start like Ferdinand is one problem, right? You can almost live with that problem. But Babe could end up creating a problem in the leadership structure, right? Because what's Fly and Rex's job? And as Babe starts to work his way into that scenario more and more, he gets more and more irritated to the point where his balls get a little too full and he snaps.
Yeah. I mean, he's every leader you don't want.
Yeah, I mean, he's good when things are good, but if there's anything that upsets that, then he's bad for that. Yeah.
Yeah, and he definitely doesn't want a pig to move in as not a surrogate. I don't even know the word, but a child of Fly, right? Like he's like, no.
A rival. He's a rival.
He is a rival in a sense, but this is even pre like him trying to be a sheepdog.
True.
He's
a little bit guarded because he's not one of us. You know? Like he's been around the block. Like Rex has seen some shit. He's like, this can only end badly. He doesn't want probably Fly to get too attached, right?
Yeah, he
and we don't really. Oh, go ahead, Jeff.
No, I was going to say also Farmer Hoggett doesn't keep pigs. Right. This is the first of the. I mean, he is brand new to the situation.
It's true too. Yeah.
Oh, is he the first pig on the farm? I didn't get that sense.
Yeah.
I got a sense that he's pretty rare.
Yeah, I mean, Farmer Hoggett certainly tells the guys in the tent, "I don't keep pigs." Yeah. It's like, who cares? It's a fun game. He's like, you're right.
I think that most of the farm animals know. Certainly the cat knows, but the cat could be getting that from
what's coming out of the oven.
From what's boss, right? Exactly.
But even Rex knows a pig's place is under the cart,
right?
So there has been a pig there before.
There is definitely a sense of a pecking order here. Yes.
Yeah. Well, if nothing else, it could be he is making it the pig's place because they broke a sacred rule by an animal that's not a dog or a cat inside the house.
But yes, so even prior to that, the pig had ingratiated himself with Fly. He was sleeping in the same barn with her, and Rex
right next to her.
Right next to her. Rex is not a big fan of that, but he's not going to say anything because Pig hasn't done anything wrong. What happens is Ferdinand talks Babe into going in for the alarm clock, which is a clusterfuck. Like Babe is not built for this shit. Go ahead, Jeff.
No, Babe does not have a whole lot of maneuverability. Pigs aren't known for their agility.
They ain't sneaky.
And they sure as hell don't pick up their legs too well either. So when the yarn, so it's a whole what do they call that?
Kerfuffle?
No, what's the machine called? The thing with
a Rube Goldberg?
Yeah, it's a whole Rube Goldberg situation because the first thing that happens is he knocks against a table that sends the yarn down, which nearly wakes up the cat, but it sends a piece of yarn that sticks out across the floor, which then Babe gets his hoof tangled up in, which then starts to edge the dollhouse that Farmer Hoggett's building for his granddaughter
which is a paint can,
which is pushing a paint can toward the edge of the table. And this is what Ferdinand is. Ferdinand's watching from outside. He sees everything, and this is when he starts flipping out outside. And he's like now trying to tap on the window without waking the cat up. And so he eventually comes in and stops Babe, and he's like, no, 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 no. You can't go any further. You're tangled up. Here, let me help you. In fact, actually, I'm gonna go do the thing. You do lookout. To which Babe's like, good idea. And so
What am I looking out for?
what am I looking out for? You know. And then Ferdinand gets all the way upstairs, gets to the alarm clock, and Babe shows back up. It's like, I've been looking out. And he's like, what are you doing up here? You're not supposed to be up here. But then he's like, all right, well, while you're here, go ahead and grab the clock. And so they come back downstairs, but now Ferdinand, who's allergic to cats, has now gotten too much dander in his nose, and he's starting to sneeze, to which Babe's like, no, don't do this. Stop. Which causes the alarm clock to fall out of his mouth. The cat wakes up, flies into a rage at the duck and at the pig inside the house. Everything comes crashing down. And then the farmer and his wife come home, and they find that there's paint everywhere, to which at first the wife, Magda, that's the actress name. What is the Esme? Esme is at first, it's like, oh, that's kind of weird. What's going, something seems off, but that seems weird. And then, but it's Farmer Hoggett who has the biggest reaction to seeing everything, just like, because he's kind of an order person too, right? Like, he seems very calm and everything is a certain way, Well, that's when Rex is like, no, the punishment is you're not going to sleep in the barn anymore. Your place is under the cart. Yeah. Now he says it's a pig's place, but I don't know if it's necessarily true, because pigs don't typically live out in the open all the time. They often go into a barn. But anyway, he's handing down the judgment to a paint covered.
This
Babe.
Also like opens up the avenue for, what's the right word? Suspicion, I guess, for something that happens later.
Yes.
Right. Because it's kind of a big jump to believe that Babe would be capable of doing what he's accused of later.
Right.
But this is kind of like the second strike, right? There probably aren't 3 strikes for animals, right? 2 strikes is probably enough,
right,
on the farm. And the second strike happens.
Well, I would say first
later.
strike is that the idea is that he will eventually be eaten. Second strike is he's causing trouble. Third
Fair
strike,
enough.
he does the one
fair
sacred
enough.
rule.
Like we I got you with the intention of eating you, so that's already strike 1. Yeah. Fair enough.
Because he has no interest, and he doesn't need a pig. I mean, why would you have a pig on a farm if you're not going to eat him?
Why would Hoggett ever assume the pig knew he was going to kill him and eat him? Like,
well, he doesn't, but he's like
the pig.
But from a story aspect, though, we're kind of seeing the strikes play out to where when we get to strike 3, we do have some understanding why the farmer would believe that there's malicious intent.
He doesn't know that he has a sentient being who can talk to sheep.
Right. He doesn't know the Bahram U thing.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. The strikes are like, they're arbitrary in that sense, because
but they become like too burdensome. It's like, this is an animal on my farm that is causing too much trouble. That's all it really is.
Yeah.
Not like that pig could ever fucking eat a fucking sheep.
Well, I agree. I agree that that's a bit of a leap. I do. And it actually kind of like annoyed me.
A little bit.
I was like, come on. He didn't like try to like,
well,
kill that sheep. Like,
they also
didn't kill that sheep.
They also do a good job of why we would understand that as viewers too, because so what ends up happening is that the farmer doesn't mind that Babe ends up going with the dogs, because he notices that that Babe is following the dogs around all the time. Like there's some, obviously the dogs and the pig, or at least one of the dogs and the pig, regard each other. No, I don't have
And
any
he
problem.
separated the chickens by color.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
does recognize that. It's like, huh, that's weird. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
on Christmas Day when he
Yeah.
spots that.
Babe is a segregationist.
Yeah.
You know that yeah, I guess so, man.
I don't know
He
what
he spent a little bit too much time in the dark web there, in the intellectual dark web, talking about this shit. Anyway, but basically, if Hoggett, the first thing he does show Babe a little grace at first, because Christmas comes and the idea is to have pig, or to have pork, but
Right.
he ends up kind of speaking to Esme's kind of mindset of, we could win an award next year at the fair. That pig is gaining some pretty good weight.
Look at
She's
those fucking legs.
yeah, and she's like, oh, and so then it's time for a duck at that point. To which they think, oh God, the cow saying, if you're out here, then who's in there?
Rosalind.
Yes,
Wasn't it? Was that Rosalind?
yeah, something like that. It's like she didn't deserve this.
She didn't deserve this. I'm getting out before it's too late.
Yeah.
I can't stand it.
But yeah, so he ends up surprisingly he proves himself to be more useful to Farmer Hoggett as he starts to accompany the dogs on the sheep herding thing. He ends up being able to kind of wrangle sheep, and not just wrangle them, but make them more willing to do
his whole trick is he talks to them. He asks them nicely. He treats them politely.
He treats them as equals.
Yeah, he treats them as equals. They have endeared. He's endeared himself to them, and vice versa. So it's a nice relationship. All he has to do is ask, and they will be like, "Sure, we'll move from here to there."
There's no reason for us. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like there's no reason why we're here. We could be over there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's totally reasonable for us to move from here to there. If you ask us nicely, we will do that.
Right, exactly. And what's more is later, Hoggett's trying to give them medicine, and he's like, "Come on, it's good for you." Well, if you could have just said that, and they just go up and they line up for the medicine.
He's like, "Oh, it tastes terrible, but if you insist that it's good for us, we'll go ahead and do it." And they go, and they do. They're like, they just need someone to trust.
Yes. Yeah.
They've been living their life without trust. The dogs they don't trust because the dogs bite.
Yes. Right? Yeah. Now the way that everything kind of works, and how this ends up working quite in the positive for Babe, and really proves his usefulness, is that some people come to try to steal the herd.
Yeah.
And he gets in the way. He doesn't stop this one, but he gets in the way. And so they end up deciding to drive up because Arthur notices, hey, something's going on. And the dogs are going out there. And so basically he has proven that he has some worth beyond just being potential ham and potential prize winning large pig. And that's, so that's the first time he stops an attack. Later, now this is where we get into where the sacred rule has come, or at one point, 3 stray, like feral dogs basically start terrorizing the sheep, and Babe goes off and actually like headbutts those motherfuckers.
Beats the shit out of them.
Yeah.
But one of them had gotten Ma.
Yes. Ma, which was the first sheep that Babe was
She was sick in a
she had
little
hoof
barn.
rot. Yeah.
Yeah. And they formed a bit of a relationship, right? And he runs out there. He beats off. Sorry.
Yeah.
What a terrible world that I can't say beats off.
What a terrible world.
He jerks off a few dogs. And
What a terrible world that you can say jerks off.
You can't say jerk off.
oh my god, he wanks a few dogs off.
There it is. You got it. There you go. You got
I
it.
got it. That's
You got it.
true.
That's it.
He wanks them off. They run off, but Ma, unfortunately, has been mortally wounded, right, in this scene, and he runs, or I don't know who notifies the farmer, maybe Fly, and the farmer comes out and he blames Babe for it, and he puts him into the barn that had the hooks and all the foreboding shit from earlier.
Yeah,
and he loads a gun.
It gets real scary. He's pointing a shotgun at Babe.
Yeah, he's pointing a shotgun at Babe, but Fly goes out there and kind of utilizes the Babe method, but kind of can't break her own method of this is how we communicate with sheep. But she eventually gets the information that it was wolves, in quotation, because the sheep can't differentiate wolves from dogs, but the sheep thinks dogs and wolves are stupid, and the dogs think sheeps are stupid. It's like a language barrier, which is kind of cute in this movie. It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
But she's running back barking, which kind of makes Hoggett like back up a little bit, like what's going on here. And then the mom
delayed
Esme.
Esme, because that delays Farmer Hoggett, because Babe doesn't understand what's being pointed at him, because where he came from, food came out of metal cylinders. So so he thinks he's about to get a treat.
It's like really like sad. It is like, because Babe's looking up at like this double barrel shotgun. It's like,
but
1980s like G rating shit here for sure.
Totally.
So Fly is able to distract Farmer Hoggett just long enough for Esme to then say, hey, just letting you know, the neighbors called. There are some wild dogs that are hanging out and killed some of their sheep. To which
what are you doing with that gun?
Yeah, right. And he's like, oh. And he just unloads it. And then it's like, and that's the end of that. And so that's so Babe is saved by accident. It's like he struck out, but he still stole first. He's still there.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, it's accidental, but it's still accidental, excuse me, but it's still like Fly kind of saved him. That little bit of delay.
The delay, for sure.
Saved his ass.
Without Fly, like the winds of change would have taken him.
But there's also now somewhere in here, and I don't know if it's already happened. Oh no, after this is, I think, when Rex gets really angry.
Somewhere around here,
for Fly ingratiating Babe. And he fucking freaks out. He has a fight with her in the middle of the night, and he bites her leg, which injures her. And he also ends up biting Hoggett
when he's trying to separate them.
When Hoggett's trying to separate him, which also injures him, obviously. And his only saving grace here is that he has a role. His role is breeding, right?
Right.
Like, he brings puppies to the farm, which are money, which is going to keep him alive, but they end up not neutering him, which
they just sedate him.
But that's a neutering in and of itself.
Well, it's like a mental neutering.
Well, the doctor makes a point that if we neuter him, he won't be able to. He won't be a breeding dog. And if we sedate him, he won't be able to be a sheepdog.
Yeah.
Right. Which I don't know. I feel kind of really bad for Rex in this
Yeah.
story. He's the most, besides maybe Fly. Like they both have a very sad kind of story because if you think about it, you're giving birth and all of your litter
Hmm.
are always leaving.
Yeah.
Never
And
to be
they
seen again. I
and
mean,
they and
Yes.
they linger on that. Like she is depressed because of that. Yeah.
Yes,
But
and
she
Babe
also
like
mentions that
fills a
it's like
void
part
there.
of her like purpose. Yeah.
Yeah, it's sad.
It is.
What us humans do to animals is very sad.
Yeah, and
Like,
I think that's kind of what this movie does in a lot of ways is it humanizes our treatment of animals. It's not necessarily going like full bore PETA, right?
right.
right.
But it contextualizes
But
things. Yeah.
it's like, hey, let's have a little empathy, right? Like
Or compassion.
or
Well,
and
same
compassion
thing.
for these situations. Like these are not insignificant events in these animals' lives. Yeah.
Well, think about it
I think
also.
that's
I mean, like, also think about it that farm animals are all considered domesticated, and a lot of them are considered some of the most intelligent animals in most day to day. Like, obviously, dolphins aren't going to be day to day type of animals that you interact with.
well, I mean, they're the
Monkeys are
smartest, though, right? But
right.
yeah.
Well, yeah, and like apes and stuff like that are not going to be every day. But like when it comes to like truly domesticated animals, farm animals, a lot of them, particularly the mammals, are some of the smartest.
So
Dogs, cats, pigs, and horses are all extremely trainable and extremely important to people at times, at
Could
different
you
times.
really imagine if animals could communicate with us, right? Because I look at my dog all the time and I'm like, he's dumb. And I mean that in like the nicest way.
Sure, sure.
I'm not trying to be silly,
right.
but I'm like, that's a dumb dog. Like, and I've known smart dogs and I love Ransom, like with all my heart. But could you imagine if they could tell us what they're thinking?
Oh,
Or if
yeah.
they are thinking, like the only thing keeping us from doing what we do to any animal is the fact that they can't communicate with us, right?
Sure.
Like if they could tell us like, hey, that bothers me that you killed my mother, or you're milking my mother, or you're doing it's like intriguing to me, and partly why I went vegetarian for a year or a year and a half and then I couldn't do it anymore. But I don't know what I'm rambling about here, but this
Well,
movie does
It
make you
reminds
think about that.
it
yeah.
reminds me of something that I just read today, like literally today, and I did not expect to talk about this in this episode. But I read about pigeons today.
That's another intelligent animal.
And the pigeons are an extremely intelligent bird, and the pigeons were domesticated. They were taught to trust humans. They were taught to send our messages across vast distances and come back. Pigeons were our friends. We relied on pigeons in a lot of ways, and I think in some ways they knew that, right? Like there was a synchronicity and an understanding between humans and pigeons. And then we didn't need them anymore. And we discarded them. And we destroyed overnight like generations of domestication with pigeons, right? Like imagine if we just ignored all the dogs in the world tomorrow. Right?
Okay.
It's exactly what we did to pigeons. So when pigeons are in parks, when pigeons are on the streets and they're begging for food, they're not like pests. They're not rodents. They're not like they shouldn't be derided. They are doing
jobless.
they're doing what they have been trained to do, to
Yeah,
trust humans to feed them. And it's sad. Like
Yeah.
we should love pigeons. We should
Yeah,
love them.
well, that's what do they call that? That's genetic memory,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, I mean these pigeons. I mean, it's like why do horses tend to trust humans? Because they've always in our civilization trusted us and they've been useful to us. And so yeah, if we were to also ignore horses, lot of horses are going to figure out who's going to cut my hooves, who's
Right.
going to feed me, grain and so
Right.
on. Yeah.
I
Right.
was gonna joke about this, but
There are no wild pigeons. Pigeons don't just go off into the jungle. They live in cities because that's where humans are.
Same
That's what I was
thing.
gonna
And
say,
raccoons
like-
also.
Yep, exactly.
I was going to make a joke about this, but it sounds like you're saying all of the pigeons moved to New York and are homeless, kind of.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
Well,
I'm
yeah,
not
it's
being-
exactly right. I mean, it is. It is. It's not even a joke, but it's the actual truth. Yep.
Yeah, I
Yep.
was going to joke, and then I realized
Yeah.
it wasn't a
Yeah.
joke.
Well,
Yeah.
where are people? That's where we're going to go. And most people are
Yeah.
in cities. So
Yeah. They go where where their existence makes sense.
Yep.
Yep.
There's a town
sad.
there's a town somewhere around St. Louis where it's practically a town of, like, you don't see dogs and cats on the street, you see raccoons. Like, raccoons have basically taken over this little town because people started feeding them. Well, they're not going to leave where they're going to get food, and
Raccoons are assholes.
Oh my God, the
They got the
raccoons
little
where I
hands.
live are
they
insane.
got little hands.
They're so big and they're so mean and their hands are so big. Yeah. Oh,
They
it's a
go
real
and
problem.
they go and grab little handfuls of cat food and run off.
I think
with
they
it.
try-
It's
I think
I
they
hilarious.
got
get in my
offline
attic.
stories
I'm like,
about raccoons for you guys. Not on this episode.
Well, this does bring us. I mean, this is a good place as any to talk about some of the reviews that I saw, because one
yeah.
of the things that was always said about Babe, and one of those kind of snarky ways to kind of
Oh, I know it's gonna go now.
where kind of snarky ways to kind of criticize the movie is, oh, they're just turning everybody into vegetarians. I mean, I eat a lot of pork still,
Yeah,
and
me
it's
too.
like, two things can be true at the same time. I can love and value the life of an animal and also eat them.
Yep.
Now, the reason why those two things can be the same is that I'm not respecting an animal and then chopping his head off and eating that animal. It's like I can distance myself between the live version and the meat section version.
But there's also like an element of this where you can respect the life of the animal. Like,
exactly.
Like it's like
If I if I lived completely and totally off the grid and I was out, if I was a mountain man and I had to hunt rabbits, I could value both the cuteness of a rabbit, the desire to not let cats kill baby rabbits, and then also still hunt them to eat them. I can respect all of that at the same time.
that mentality has been lost through the ages with like factory farms and things like
Yeah.
that. Like we have stripped animals of their
Dignity.
of their dignity. That's a perfect
Yeah.
word. That's a
Well,
perfect
that's
word.
exactly why the movie starts the way it does, right?
Yeah.
Is to show the indignity of a pig's life and how the end can show that he does have dignity, or pignity. Anyway,
I love it. Love it.
anyway, so as I was kind of going through, because I was like, this is weird. It's like, here's a movie that is generally universally liked, right? Like, I've never met anybody who didn't like Babe. Come on,
How could you not like this movie?
I know exactly. Critic score is 97%. The audience score is 67%.
Oh wow.
And I'm like, why? Did it get review bombed? Did
Yeah,
did
had
people
to be.
think this was a brand new Star Wars show and review bombed the wrong thing? But no, so I started scrolling through, and the first two things I see is, one guy says the least funny hour and 34 minutes ever, dozen exclamation points. Like, that's weird. Okay, that's just somebody being weird. The next one that's a half star review says the worst 1 hour and 34 minutes ever, starring James Cromwell. No, I wanted Mel Gibson to play the farmer. That's a weird comment.
That's also weird. Art liar. Okay.
Okay, 3-star review, which actually has something to say. Okay, that's fine. Whatever. You can have your opinion. It's wrong, but you can have your opinion.
What's
A few years ago, we got one that says too intense for kids and too stupid. Okay. That's somebody who struggles with understanding
Oh,
concepts.
you know
I
what's
think.
funny? All right, hold on. I'm going to interject real quick. I bought my my 4-year-old, I think he's 4 years old, his nephew, the book Babar.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
the French
the elephant. Yeah.
The elephant. Yeah.
Babar. And my sister was like, because I know my sister was into has always been into elephants, and I think she was a big fan of Babar when she was little. And so I was like, oh, I asked her, I texted her, I was like, hey, has my nephew ever read Babar? And she's like, oh my gosh, I don't think he has. I kind of forgot all about it. So I was like, I'm gonna buy it for him. So I bought him the book, and she read it to him, and she texted me afterwards. She was like, I totally forgot that Babar's mother dies on like the first 5 pages.
Oh shit. Yeah.
And I was like, well, yeah, that's unfortunate. And I also didn't realize that Babar was essentially like a Frenchman's justification for imperialism.
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit, this is like all sorts of like bad shit. But
It's an elephant that walks around with a 3-piece suit and a crown.
in a crown, yeah, exactly. And
Did you guys
he-
talk about the elephant in the room?
Yeah, yes, we talked about the elephant in the room, but it was like the
Sorry.
fact that the elephant's mom died didn't bother me as much, right?
Yeah.
It's like that's okay. Like this is like normal nature shit. Like kids have to confront that at some point. The
Yes,
earlier
we
the
need to
better.
learn that lesson.
The earlier the better, right? And the symbolism of what that whole thing actually meant, whatever. That's going way over their heads. It's going way over their heads, right?
Yeah.
Like that's more normalizing shit for your parents than it is for your kids.
Yeah.
Because
So, yeah, as we kind of go through, now this is where it becomes the more prevailing thought. And it comes back around to that vegetarianism. But this one I found to be an interesting, I'm going to read the whole thing because there's a lot here, because some of it is stupid and some of it is concern trolling. All right, here we go. This movie is filled with complete garbage that inspires vegetarianism, which I learned about the lead actor, James Cromwell, who was influenced to become a vegetarian as a result of this lead role as Farmer Hoggett, period. Oh my God, learn some fucking grammar. That's a one gigantic,
one sentence.
that's one sentence. Next sentence. Another issue is that this film has a scene that inflamed my pure hate for this film that is similar to domestic violence between two dogs. Concern trolling, also, you used film way too many times in that sentence. These producers from Australia were obviously not careful enough to not put such a scene in a film intended only for children. So the first half is the old classic, this movie is going to turn everybody into a vegetarian, so
Yeah,
therefore, you know, liberal shit, right?
Yeah.
The second half is concern trolling, like, oh my God, save the children from the concept of two animals fighting because it's domestic violence.
Right.
Go fuck yourself, guy.
Wow. I gotta say that I saw the animal rights thing a mile away.
Sure.
I did not see the domestic violence thing at all.
Yeah. And then I once had some admiration for this film until I later resaw it in 2008 with a scene that relates to domestic violence, again, concern trolling,
Wow.
which happens to be portrayed between two dogs, and the fact that this film inspires vegetarianism is complete propaganda. Just don't even bother to watch this, as it will possibly corrupt you into becoming a vegetarian! Exclamation point.
Corrupt you.
These are people. These
if I-
people are
it's-
very,
it's-
very angry.
It's like
about this
while I'm
film.
watching Babe, John Waters is off to the side and he's doing his little like hypnosis fucking dish, you know? He's like, you will be a vegetarian. And then at the end of Babe, I'm just like, I don't want to eat bacon anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it's so weird, right? Because like obviously, like vegetarianism is not going to become the law of the land over a movie, and it's not going to. Like all the people who flip their shit about like impossible meat and stuff, and it's like, Jesus Christ, it's like, do you guys use the flag as a cum rag? I mean, like, because that's that's the energy you're giving me here, pal.
Wow.
You know.
Jeff
But-
just dropped cum rag in our Babe episode.
Well,
That is
it's a
gotta
shame
be
that I can't.
first.
What a world
gotta
we
be a
live in if
first.
I can't even say cum rag.
I agree. I agree, Jeff. I fully support your use of language
But anyway, like
This-
it's
in this
so,
episode about a children's film.
Yeah, well, but I'm sorry, these people are so insecure, you know, and it's like it comes from that place that we see a lot of insecurity, right? And it comes from like that weirdo, like everything has to be the way it used to be. And what do we call that?
Every time Jeff says comes from,
Umraganism.
every
Yes.
time Jeff says comes from, I can't think of anything else than a cum rag. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean that's that's what these brainworms these people have. But anyway, the point is that um it's such a reductive way to look at something like this, right? Just
Yeah,
because I
yeah.
mean, like if and it shows a lot of problems that people have with empathy in general, right? Like a lot of people, there's a lot of adults, men mostly, who can't stand the concept of watching a kid's show because they think it's stupid or they think it's just dumb, mindless, like, oh, I'm
Or
gonna hate
it's
this.
telling the kids something they
That they
shouldn't
don't
know.
That they don't want them to believe, like an
exactly. So
empathy for a
it could
thing
be
or a being or an entity that they
I think
don't want them
that's
to
the
feel empathy for.
biggest
I agree.
one.
well,
these days.
there are a lot
These
of
days.
people. There used to be a
100%
group of people until that group of people became a little bit more popular online. And I know this just from a personal experience, not directed at me, but directed generally at something that I was at, where there used to be a lot of adult guys who wanted to put away anything that was nostalgic, right? Like toys, uh, baseball cards. Those are things that little kids do, right? If you still do that and you're an adult, you are defective in some way, right? So there, some of those
That
people
was a
just
generation beyond us putting that on us. But I'm talking about the people our age.
oh yeah, our age or yeah, we're a different beast now. You're right. I mean, I'm yeah, but like the kind of the generation.
Certainly, my father's generation is one of those. If he's not exactly one of those, is yeah, he doesn't want me feeling like crying about the wrong thing,
Or
or
he
feeling or
wants you
feel
to,
or feeling sad about the wrong thing, or
or he'd make you
empathizing with
feel
the wrong
guilt
thing.
about playing Zelda.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Right? Like you shouldn't be playing Zelda. You're a man. You're an old
yeah,
man.
you're a
or
man. You should be
whatever.
out there working
Right.
yourself to death or whatever, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Forget
and
that bullshit.
yeah, exactly.
So
It's
so
like that.
so
It's
so I
it
shouldn't be
does
crying about a pig in a movie. You
right.
know?
No. Are you a man, Jason?
Right.
God.
I know.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
I'm not saying that
but
my father would have been mad at me for crying.
We're not
about it.
talking about our parents.
no,
But
no.
I'm saying that this is a sentimentality. This is
Yes.
a persona that exists. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it comes from deep insecurity or deep lack of empathy or desire to shut out empathy. And that's a classic male toxicity thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
I think it's more that these men can't recognize in themselves what feelings are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, and some of that is
And they
also
project it. They project it
Yep.
on everyone else.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right? Not to disagree with you, Jeff. I think I'm expanding.
No, you're expanding because there are multiple different ways to explain the same thing that ultimately comes down to a lack of empathy and lack of feeling or the ability to
I mean,
feel.
there's more beyond what we have experienced.
Sure.
And that I think I don't know why Babe is eliciting this from me. But I have a family who's caring, loving, right? Like good people who told me to do good for everyone around me. And then later in life, in a kind of go set a watchman, To Kill a Mockingbird,
Yeah.
like fill in the blanks here kind of thing, I recognize that the care portion was kind of centralized, right? And I don't want to talk shit about my family or
But
anyone I
tainted
love.
in some ways that you don't
Or
agree with now. But
not even
but had intentions that they thought were good.
the intentions are perfect for everybody, but they were meant for a group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I don't want to talk
that's
shit about anyone I love, but like they weren't talking about other people. They were talking about the people we know.
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
No, yeah,
And
I
it's
mean,
sad,
which
and
but it does.
I'm not gonna. I don't want to dive too deep into that, but I get.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I mean, but it does come back around to Babe, right? Because
Yep.
it does.
the idea of that's the way things are is not always the best way to go about things.
Right.
And
Right. And the dogs don't have to be the dogs.
Right.
exactly. And the pig doesn't have to be the pig. And the
And
farmer
we
doesn't
don't
have
a
to be
rule
the farmer.
against this. So hey, let's let it happen.
Exactly. There's no rule saying that. Yeah, the one of the greatest.
While we think you're making a mockery of the sheepdog competition.
Well, yeah, but I mean, but like, you're making a mockery of the university of some podunk southern place that now wants to have black people in it, right?
Yeah. But there's also no.
It doesn't have to be that way.
There's like a immediate
very
disrespect
much
for
that.
someone that you respect, right?
Yep.
It's like, why all of a sudden don't you trust him because he's doing something that's crazy? Yeah, it's kind of crazy, but still, shouldn't you give him the benefit of the doubt? And that's kind of what I like about this movie is they do ultimately give him the benefit of the doubt. Like, they don't agree with it. They're super skeptical. They probably should be skeptical.
Sure.
But they're like, we're going to let this fly because, well, there's no rule. And, well, it's you.
Yeah.
Right?
And they're right about most people, because most people will look at a thing and be like, this is dumb. This is bullshit. But once it succeeds, we'll be behind it.
Yeah.
Right?
No,
They'll love it. They'll be like, this is great. Good job, pig.
Right. And what they might end up doing is that next year they may not let you do anything but a dog.
No, there'll be a rule.
There'll be a rule
next
that
year
will,
for
yeah.
Oh,
sure.
most definitely there'll be a
But-
rule next year.
But they're not going
Like,
to.
come on, wait. The 1% is going to make a rule.
Yeah, let's get real.
Right,
Like,
yeah,
this worked once.
absolutely.
It ain't ever working again. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Because they're
Yeah.
going to bring, like, fucking tarantulas and
Right.
all sorts of shit to try and, like, herd sheep. This
The
is not gonna
exclusion
happen.
list is going to be fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Right. It's going to be basically every single animal that isn't a dog.
Yeah.
It's going to be pages of animals.
Because literally, once somebody does something like this, everybody sees opportunity to make a mockery of it. Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Now that doesn't necessarily mean that they'll change their mind later about Babe the sheep pig. No, it's like
They could also write a rule of discretion, right?
exactly.
Like you
Babe
could,
the
you could qualify, right?
Yeah,
And if your pig qualifies, hey, good job, you're in. Yep.
yeah. Right. Does,
I mean,
does
Babe the
Porky
Sheep
want?
Pig
Yeah.
is going to be a standard and an anomaly forever,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
there will be no
Definitely.
more Babe the Sheep Pigs.
Very unlikely.
Get
Which is-
Babe in New York, which I don't know what happens there. Whatever the hell it is.
Oh,
Is that
Pig
a
in the
good
City?
movie? Yeah.
Pig in the City.
It does not have as good of reviews on it. I didn't like it as much, but some critics did like it more than this one.
Forget the reviews. I want
Yeah.
to know what you think. You didn't like it.
I didn't like it as much. I mean, it's fine, but it's not the one I own. It ain't Paddington 2 of the Babe series. Let's put it
Well,
that
this
way.
movie is kind of like, in a lot of ways, perfect.
Yeah,
In some
absolutely.
ways not, but in a lot of ways perfect.
But when it's not perfect, it's still the charm still wins.
Yeah,
out.
you don't have to defend this
Yeah,
movie.
right,
with
exactly.
me,
Nobody
even
had-
a little bit.
Nobody should have to defend this movie. Nobody
Right,
should have
agree.
to defend any movie.
Agree.
But anyway,
it's not even like too saccharine, which is
no.
what
And
I expected in this watch, because I've seen it and I've cried. Like we talked about tears.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was last week or the beginning of this episode. I didn't cry this time, but this movie has made me cry.
Yeah.
And it is not a saccharine film at all.
Oh,
It's
no.
more like what I love about our youth, which I brought up earlier. It's like, it's mean in a nice way.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like,
It teaches the
it
life lessons that
attacks-
aren't.
it
Yeah.
attacks the shit and it makes you think about it, but it also gives you moments to laud in the happiness of it.
Yep.
It's not mean. It's real, and
It's direct and real.
and
Yeah.
it presents reality in like a very palatable way for children, right?
Yeah.
Like when you think about,
I'm interested because my kids are too old. And sorry,
too old.
Jason, to interrupt you there.
no, it's fine.
They're too old now. Nobody wanted to watch it with me, which I understand.
Yeah,
I wish.
they're way too cool for Babe. Yeah,
Yeah, I wish, but they're not. They won't be in 10 years, which is interesting.
Well, I saw the
I
movie
think
in the
once
theater.
Yeah.
well, of course you did. No diss,
Well,
but that makes sense to me. But in 10 years, I think my kids will be able to visit this as mid 20-year-olds or to 30-year-olds, like when their relationships are different than they are now, and be able to be like, that's sweet and it makes sense. It's not just sweet.
yeah, exactly. And
Right.
and
it's
either
it's
they're
real
going
life
to have
lesson. Yeah,
they're either
Yes.
going to have a partner or they're going to have friends who are going to be like, I love this movie. Let's watch it. Or whatever. Even if it's not, even if it's not just coming to it as a parent or whatever,
yeah,
somebody will enter their life saying, I grew up with this movie. I want to watch it when I have movie night. Let's watch it, or
Yeah.
whatever,
I don't know if you want to refocus us, Jeff, or
Well,
if
no,
I
mean,
will. We just need to get
let's
to
get. I mean, because the point is like the farmer then takes on a much more direct interest in Babe's life because he's recognized the Babe has sheep herding ability. He has some sort of superpower. He's super pig. He's one what's Charlotte write in the web? One great pig. Yeah. Anyway, Charlotte's Web's another
this movie
gooder.
does remind me of Charlotte's Web too.
Yeah.
Not just because a pig is in it, but
Well, because Charlotte's Web also teaches you about growing up, right? Like Charlotte dies, but her brood live on, and takes the lessons they got from her in the egg sac with them, all of them but one leave.
Amniotic learning. Or
Exactly.
whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And one stays behind with Wilbur. But anyway, which Wilbur then becomes the parent. Anyway. But the farmer starts to take the interest in Babe's abilities. He ends up deciding to train Babe as a sheepdog. And he even lets Babe come inside at night, to which the cat swipes at him, hurts him, and then he's got to get a little Band-Aid put on his nose, which I thought was
But then
adorable.
Hoggett throws, yes, totally. And Hoggett throws the cat
out into the storm.
cold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when the cat comes back in, it tells Pig that, notice there's no other pigs around. Notice that, it's like, don't you think things are a little weird with you around? And that's because pigs don't really have a purpose. And if you don't have a purpose, you become food.
Your purpose is food.
Yeah.
Yep.
They call it pork. And this is when the cat goes through everybody's purpose and she mixes up who the boss is. But anyway, so that makes Babe run away, and it ends up being out in the storm, ends up getting a cold, and now Hoggett. Now Hoggett, there is a whole thing about a fax machine in this movie that I love, because their kids come over for Christmas, give them a fax machine, which these are two people who have no use for a fax machine, until you find out that you can fax the entry for the pig herding championship in, and so the Hoggett becomes an expert with faxing. but yeah, so he's entered. But
Arthur looks very proud when he puts that backstory.
Yeah,
it's really good.
Well, in his immediate concern when he starts to move forward when it isn't sending, and then it goes, and he's like, "Oh,
yeah, it's working. It's
yeah,
kind of perfect."
I love James Cromwell so much. Anyway, but then, so now he
did us wrong in LA Confidential, though.
He sure
yeah,
did.
Motherfucker
Shot Kevin Spacey.
What an actor.
Just as everything was getting figured out. God damn it. Anyway.
I wish I could remember that name. What is the name that is used in LA Confidential?
Zephram Cochrane. Oh no, that's Star Trek.
no.
That's Star Trek First Contact.
No,
No,
we can move past.
Tomo Arasi or something like that.
Yes, it is something like-
Tolo Tomasi.
Laura.
Tomasi is the last name. Rollo
Yeah.
Tomasi.
Rollo
That's it.
Tomasi.
Rollo
Tomasi.
There it is.
Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry.
We got there.
We got there.
Rollo
Zephram
Tomasi.
Cochrane. Anyway,
Zephram Cochrane.
the first
Cockrim?
Cochrane.
Oh, okay. I thought you said Cockrim.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, okay.
so oh god, we're covering all the bases here
All of it.
with grossness. Anyway, so he has to nurse Babe back to health, and Babe just isn't. Babe doesn't think he has any worth, so he's kind of lost the will to live. But then, god damn it, if Farmer Hoggett doesn't have a pair of pipes on him.
He sings to him, then he dances a jig, and he brings little Babe back
from the brink of death.
Yep.
So not only does Babe finish off his water, he goes and finishes off all the food too.
He's like, this man is singing to me. This man is dancing for me. This man loves me.
Yep.
Yep.
And I'm ready.
I'm
So
ready.
they
Let's do this thing.
Yeah. So he and Fly and Rex go off to the sheep herding contest, and Babe walks up to the little pen with the sheep, and they're not talking to him. He's trying. He is trying. He's commenting on how dark their faces, and he's trying.
Bit of a wrinkle in the plan, right? Because these sheep they're kind of sons of bitches.
Kind of. Yeah, they just go, meh. That's all they do. and Babe is using all of his best pickup lines here, man.
Yeah, he is.
So
he's being his most charming self.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's just trying to make small talk. He's talking about like, you must have, like, I hope the storm didn't bother you last night. He's got everything. He's commenting on their looks. He's got everything going for him. So Rex is like, Fly pulls Rex off to the side. It's like, this is disaster. It's going to
make the master look bad.
You can't make the boss look like an idiot.
Yep.
And so Rex is like, okay, I'm going to go and try to suss this out. Meanwhile, Esme is off into one of her like sorority meetings with her girlfriends.
Yeah.
And they're watching at home, or they're watching in their hotel room, and the one woman whose dog like first messes up at the start, and she's like crying and everything, and it's like, oh, I'm sure it'll be all right. So they're watching from the hotel room. The animals are watching from the window because the power has been restored from the storm the night before. And by the way, James Cromwell watching that weirdo like chorus thing, or like chorus, like the duet of like weirdos that are dressed up like angels or something. And the whole time, this was like when the storm knocks out the power.
Yeah.
And and the night before. And like, I'm just thinking like, what is James Cromwell thinking? What's James Cromwell's thought when he's watching these two women dressed like angels sing this weird hymnal? Anyway.
Yeah.
I'll explain why I thought
mysterious.
Jeff. No, well, I'll connect the dots here before we finish this episode. But anyway, so Rex gets back home, and he actually does something that even Fly doesn't do. He actually cuts a deal with the sheep at Hoggett Farm, and he's like, "We got to help the pig. The pig's in trouble. What are we going to do?" And they give him a password. And he makes concessions that they have to be nice to them from now on. And he's like, I'll try. But like, he's
tell anyone, it would be use it nefariously.
And that's fine. That's fine. And it's like, yeah, and you have to treat us nicely. It's like, oh, I'll try. Well, no promises, but I'll try. So he books it back. Now, the good news is that the committee has to try to figure out if they're going to let Babe in. Right,
it's buying time.
Buying time for Rex to get back, and Rex is able to pass along the password to Fly and Babe, so that
that's hilarious. When so Cromwell and Babe go out onto the pitch, or whatever you want to call it, and they're in the middle of the field waiting to start, and there's a random dog running on the field. It's almost like a soccer striker
Yeah.
or like something like
Strange
that. And
dog.
he runs out there, he gives the password and he runs off. And the guy who was chasing him's like, whatever.
Right. Well, and the
Right.
announcers are like, maybe they're giving them some last second tips on how to be a sheepdog.
Which he is.
Yeah, she is. So yeah, and he basically like he goes out to give the password to, and by the way, Cromwell knows the animals are communicating some way because
He's
he
got
also
a sense of it for sure.
no,
he's like
he
keenly observing
spots
it.
he spots Rex and Fly talking before Rex takes off. So he knows that they had something happen and Rex took off. Or yeah. So he knows he has some idea that there's more to these animals than what his wife or his kids think.
Which is why he trusts this whole scenario in the first place, right?
And he does not move.
He's observed some weird things, yes.
Yeah.
He's had some moments.
And he doesn't move during Babe's thing. Like he just stands there because
He knows.
trusts Babe to do the job.
Yep.
Yeah.
He showed him once, and pigs are smart, man. They're like smart. But anyway, they
taste good too.
Yeah, they sure do. They do.
The sweetest meat.
Yeah. Anyway, so he goes off and he goes up to the pen. Now the time is ticking and people are laughing. It's like, oh my God, this is insane. This is stupid. Well, he does the password, and all of a sudden, and also Esme in the hotel room is like having a breakdown because like, oh my God, my husband's insane. She's like, what am I going to do? And we're all going to be looked at as crazy people. But then everybody suddenly goes silent. And that's because now Babe has perfectly lined up 2 by 2 these sheep and leading them around. And then you get to Babe's point of view and he's like, all right, now if you don't mind getting into the circle, please. Yeah, it's like just perfectly
or
like
the three of you with collars.
Please step out. Yeah. Yeah.
Hilarious.
Yeah. And then of course he leads them to the pen. They shut the door. The whole place goes fucking ape shit. And Babe wins. Babe wins.
You know what? I
That'll
love
do,
everything.
pig.
That'll do, pig. I love everything
God, I
about
love
this
That'll Do,
movie.
Pig.
I don't like the Rex turnaround. There's not enough reason for him to do it, but I mean, this movie is beautiful.
Well, I think
I'm being nitpicky on Rex being like, I want to help Pig all of a sudden. Like,
well,
no.
I think it comes from Fly saying,
Mr. Anderson.
I think it comes from Fly just saying he's going to make the boss look like an idiot.
I think so too. I
think that's all he needed to hear.
I guess that's enough. That's enough.
That'll do, Pig.
That'll do, Pig. You got there before me, you mother trumper.
So
no, this movie's so sweet.
Yeah.
Without being saccharine, like I mentioned earlier. It's just joy.
And and then the whole just the two of them just standing there, it's like, and then him telling Babe, that'll do, Babe looking up proud, feeling like he belongs, like he has a purpose now. That gets, oh man, eyes get wet. Get wet.
Yeah, but I'm sure the farmer ate him a year from now when he was too old.
No, because he went to the city. Babe went to the city with Esme.
He did.
He went to the city.
Was Ferdinand there?
Yes,
I've never watched
Ferdinand's
the
in.
sequel.
Yeah, Ferdinand and Babe and then the mice. I think it's the.
This movie doesn't need a sequel though.
No, it really doesn't.
It was Gene Siskel's favorite movie of that year, though.
Yes, it was
for real. The
second one. Yeah.
Yep. Babe Pig in the City was his favorite.
Gene Siskel's a douche, though, right?
Well, I don't know. Watch the movie. Decide for yourself.
Yeah, watch it. You watch it. We'll watch it. We'll watch it, and then we'll come to a decision. We'll present that decision to you, and that'll be your official stance.
What are our 5 movies this month, Jeff?
Well, wait a minute. Well,
unless you have more to say.
No, I was going to say 2 more things. I have. Well, first of all, the nominees that were up that year. It was Apollo 13, Babe, Braveheart, Il Postino, and Sense and Sensibility.
Pulp Fiction wasn't even up.
That was the year before.
right?
No, that was the year
Oh,
before.
okay.
I should also mention that George Miller directed Babe, Pig in the City. I think
I
we
said
might have
that
mentioned
earlier.
that
Yeah, I
earlier
said that
in the
earlier.
episode,
Yeah.
but I'm not ever going to like turn my nose up at something that George Miller made.
Yeah.
I'm not.
It's got to have something behind it.
I hope I don't have to defend this, but Braveheart was like my favorite movie ever for many, many years.
That's a
Yeah.
fine movie. It's a fine
It
movie.
is. It's fine.
I'm just fine. Like you guys don't find
No, I mean, I
any
liked it.
good?
I mean,
like,
I
are you retroing it? Or did
no,
you
no. I
not?
mean, I liked it. I liked it fine. I mean,
I still like it. I mean,
I loved that movie.
I'll tell
But
you
it's
right
kinda
now,
stupid now.
I would have
Like,
probably voted for Babe if I had a vote.
were you like
did it win?
on all these movies that year?
I saw all five of those.
Wait, hold
yeah.
on, hold on.
Yeah.
What was it up against again? Sorry.
It was Apollo 13, Babe, Braveheart, Il Postino, and Sense and Sensibility.
Oh,
Apollo 13 was just
The
okay.
the two
as I
that didn't
remember it.
the two that didn't get nominated that I think were surprises were Leaving Las Vegas and Dead Man Walking.
I remember Leaving
got
Las
nominated.
Vegas should have had like
yeah.
like
how-
Because
everyone
both of
loved that
those
movie.
were nominated for Best Director, but not for Best Picture.
I
both
would
of-
pick that over
Oh.
all of the films we're talking about.
They kind of went a little bit like happy with the Best Picture awards, like
Yeah,
feel
Braveheart was
good.
so
They
happy.
were very feel good. What? Yeah, but it's still very feel good. It's like he
Won.
won
He
his
dies.
freedom.
Yeah, but
Doesn't
Scott,
win, he
exhilarating.
dies.
but
It's exhilarating,
Scotland,
though.
but he,
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, he
It's an
does.
exhilarating story. Like
Yeah.
it is inspiring.
The Postman was
Leaving Las
happy.
Vegas isn't necessarily inspiring, and Dead Man Walking should be, because we should all just be fucking better humans and not kill our own.
Yeah, but that doesn't end a good way either, right?
But it's not. But it's a downer. Yeah, they're both downer endings. Everything that was nominated for Best Picture, I don't know The Postman very well.
The
El
Postman.
Postino was good, but it was sad.
It's kind of
As I
weird
remember
that got a nom over.
Well, I think
Dead Man
the
Walking or Leaving Las Vegas.
well, I think the reason why Il Postino got a boost from the actor dying. That sounds weird to say, but it got a boost. The actor passed away, and the movie then suddenly got nominated for Best Picture, and he got nominated for Best Actor. And I think it's kind of one of those. It's stuck, you know.
That's
wouldn't say-
exactly
I
why
wouldn't say
everyone
that
likes the
I-
Joker.
I wouldn't say that I agree that Braveheart should be a Best Picture winner, but against the 5 films it was against,
At
it's
the
fine.
time,
it is
that
at the time. Like, that's an epic film. Like, I loved it when it came out. Like, my 14-year-old self thought that was the greatest movie he'd ever seen. Right?
what year? I'm being ridiculous, but did Usual Suspects win
I guess it was
Best
17.
Adapted Screenplay in '95?
Yeah. So Usual Suspects won Best Original Screenplay. Kevin Spacey won Best
Yes,
Supporting
thank
Actor
you.
that year.
That was
So-
the same year. So it wasn't Best Picture nominated? That's fucking wild to me.
Well, nowadays, I mean,
This
you
is the
have-
same year this movie came out in Babe. That
Yeah.
is insane
It is
to
insane.
me.
A Mighty
Well, yeah,
Aphrodite
Nixon wasn't
also-
nominated either, and that was
Nixon
heavily
not
nominated elsewhere. Yeah.
Like,
How
in
did you
the
not
world?
mention that, Jeff? That's the best film, probably.
I wouldn't give it to Nixon.
Not Nixon. Usual Suspects was insanely good.
My
Well,
my,
well,
my, my best
What,
fi- my
why,
best
wait,
picture.
wait. What do you mean? Why didn't I mention it? It wasn't nominated for Best Picture.
Yeah.
No, you mentioned a few films that were surprises.
Oh well, Usual Suspects was more popular with audiences than it, I think, technically was widely.
I mean, but it was everywhere. It was everywhere that year. But no big deal. I was just curious.
It wouldn't be my pick though. It's still even today.
Yeah,
my pick is either Leaving Las Vegas or Dead Man Walking. Like those are the two for me in this year.
Neither
Best Picture.
nominated
And
either.
neither were nominated either. Yeah.
Babe probably should have won with the nominees, honestly, from what I remember of those films.
I mean, Apollo 13 is fine. It's a
Uh,
good movie.
eh.
It's fine, but it's very like conventionally Hollywood. So is Braveheart in a lot of ways. Uh, Sense and
I'm,
Sensibility is honestly pretty damn good. But it's like that whole Merchant Ivory sensibility, right? It's not like
It's
it's always
stuffy.
nominated, never wins. It's
Yeah, it's
stuffy.
because
there's
it's stuffy.
nothing
It's
special
Yeah,
British.
about it,
it's too literary. Yeah,
but it's
exactly.
not special
Great
either.
performances, but it's never gonna really win
I
like
mean,
an
the thing
award.
is that Babe got nominated because it had a lot of talk around it because it
But
was
it's
the
also
surprise.
weird. It's also weird that it got nominated
Well, I mean, a
because
lot.
A little bit, a little bit.
I mean, it was a big box office hit, and it was talked
yeah, but
about.
that is weird in general.
But it's
That
kind of
it,
like
like
Beauty and the
all of
Beast
the
getting
build up,
nominated. It's kind of
all
like
of the
Beauty and the
build
Beast
up.
getting nominated. Like they were. This is not uncommon for the Academy to give a nod to like a big prestige, like animated slash.
This is not a prestige film, though. That's what I'm saying. Like even the groundswell around Babe is weird. That everyone kind of loved it. I'm not dogging it. I think this is like a plus for it. That it just it just grew
I
like
just think
everyone.
I think of most of the films nominated, it's kind of the one that I was like, damn, good for you, Academy. Like you
Yeah.
nominated something that's
Right. That's why I'd
non-conventional.
give it the
Yeah,
win
yeah.
myself
Oh
because
well, it's
of
never
what
gonna
was
win,
nominated.
but of what's nominated, yeah, I could see it. I could see it.
That's what I'm saying. Sorry.
Yeah.
Did it, Jeff, or do you have anything
Yeah.
more?
One last thing I was going to say about the reason why I was wondering, I was pondering. It's like, what the hell is James Cromwell thinking when he's watching that weirdo duet with the
Right.
angels? The reason why I think that is, um, James Cromwell is like super leftist. He's gone to jail for shit, for like protest and like civil disobedience and stuff. He is probably more leftist than all the people we know put together on the left. He is like he is why like he is almost communist.
Wait.
Like no, seriously, like that's how far like he
Okay, we
approaches.
get it. We get
Yeah.
it. We get it.
But anyway,
So
but no, I just sat there. It's like he's probably looking at us like, what the fuck is this bullshit? It's like, what is this? What is this weirdo like church shit that I'm watching? And this as this farmer character, because I could see the gears working inside his head.
I mean,
Anyway.
he's acting, but yeah.
but he also probably loves animals, has empathy for animals. Like it's not a
Well,
stretch.
apparently, according to Rotten Tomatoes, he became a vegetarian after this
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
So this
which
movie
doesn't
is
surprise me.
propaganda bullshit.
Propaganda bullshit.
Anyway,
This is a crazy year. I mean, 12 Monkeys was this year.
We've covered quite a few movies from this year.
95 is a
Toy Story.
yeah. Goldeneye, we covered Goldeneye, and anyway, so next week we finish out the Oscar also rans with 2005's Capote.
This is going to be interesting, I think.
Well,
This talk about
yeah.
this film and what it's dealing with. Sorry, Jeff.
No, and I mean, because this is a topic that I actually am very, very like, I love the story that's being told during Capote. Like, because I think it says a lot about Truman Capote. I think Philip Seymour Hoffman is fantastic as Truman Capote. And funny, you mentioned To Kill a Mockingbird. Well,
Yeah, Harper Lee. Yeah,
Harper Lee's in this. Yeah. So,
Yeah, of course.
yeah. So, so we get to see Catherine Keener as Harper Lee.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's also the reason why I picked that movie, and I'll talk a lot more about it next time, is that this is one of the last years also that there were only 5 nominees. I didn't want to pick from one of the years that had like 27 nominees because
Yeah.
I kind of wish it would just go back to 5, but that's whatever. Anyway, but this is a movie that like I really, really like. Um, yeah. It's also interestingly the other 4 movies aside from Barry Lyndon, which we talked about a couple of weeks ago, all the other movies only won 1 Oscar, whereas Barry Lyndon was the only one that won more than one. So anyway, so that's how we're going to close things out. That is July 31st. We're going to talk about Capote.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about Philip Seymour Hoffman, I'm sure. Yeah, so you can go to filmseizure.com. You can find out all the places where you can follow us on social media, all the places you can subscribe to us to get the inside scoop on when things get released. This upcoming Monday, July 29th, I have a Monster Mondays episode for the Twilight Zone episode Nightmare at 20,000 Feet. This episode's so good, so iconic, it gets its own episode of Monster Mondays.
I love it.
Same place, filmseizure.com. This upcoming Friday at my website, bmovieanima.com, you can read a review of another sci-fi flick that oh wait, nope, sorry. I'm ahead of myself. This upcoming Friday is the last of my Q movies for July of this year, and it's a bad one. It's Queen Kong. It kind of sucks, but in interesting ways because it's kind of one of the earliest examples of a mockbuster.
But you're gonna find shit you like about it.
No, not that one. Not well. There's a couple of jokes that are good, but other than that,
I want to do a quick correction. Also,
okay.
You said that Capote, the year it was nominated for Best Picture, was the last year.
No, one of the last years.
Well, yeah, okay. Well, it definitely wasn't the last year.
Yeah, because I said one of the last years.
2008 was the last
Yeah.
year. Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, so so that is this Friday. You can read my review of Queen Kong. This Saturday on B Movie Enema the series, I've got an episode for the second best secret agent in the whole wide world, and boy, is that a number 2. All right. Anyway, until next time, I am Jeff the Sheep Pig.
I'm Chuck Fernando.
I'm Jason Oliver, and that'll do, pig. You've been listening to Film Seizure.